So you have to be on a gluten-free diet? I understand. My son is 22 months old and he requires a gluten-free diet. There are a lot of things that you can have, but there's some things that you can't. So skip the things that are made with wheat, rye, and barley, and avoid the little things that you also can't have. What can't you eat? Skip the bakery aisle. Most cereals, not okay. But you can have Chex, cornflakes, and Rice Krispies, for sure. But there's gluten-free cereals out there. They're just not quite as good. No crackers, no bread, regular bread. There's gluten-free bread, and I know it's not as tasty. No pizza crust, licorice, gravies, sauces, and roux. Skip them. Trust me, there's gluten in them. Croutons on your salad, teriyaki, a lot of marinades, pretzels, soy sauce, stuffings. So are you thinking yet, what can I eat? There's a wide variety of other grains that are fine to eat. Corn, quinoa, garbanzo flour, fava flour, millet, rice, sorghum, tapioca, taro root are all good options. But you need to stick with a very nutritionally sound diet. So talk to your dietitian. You should be incorporating plenty of fruits and vegetables, meats, nuts, beans, fish. There are 3 foods that are nutritionally sound foods. The first is breast milk, which is only for babies. The second is rice, and the third is potatoes. So if you're incorporating rice and potatoes in your diet, it's a very good start. They're very nutritionally sound foods, so you'll actually be healthier than eating things with wheat in them, because wheat is not as nutritionally sound. I make things, pastas with corn pasta. There's also rice pasta, but I don't care for the flavor of it as much as the corn pasta. Many people don't really notice much of a difference in between the corn and the wheat pastas if they're dining at my home. There's a slight different texture and the flavor's a little different, but in things, you normally put things in with your noodles, unless you're just eating butter noodles, which a lot of people do. But things like goulash or macaroni and cheese or spaghetti or lasagna, you don't notice the difference in the noodles as much. So I suggest to try the corn pasta. The rice pasta can be a lot trickier to cook too. Pizza crust. People love pizza. I know it's one of those things that when you go gluten-free you really miss. Try the fava flour, the garbanzo bean fava mixed flour to make a pizza crust. It tends to turn out a little better flavor-wise and texture-wise. Things to be careful of are like beer. Don't worry, there's sorghum beers out there that are pretty good, and like the woodchuck ciders, the hard ciders are pretty good, so check into some of those. Avoid the caramel coloring, citric acid, and dextrin. Flavorings and extracts can contain gluten. Modified food starch can contain gluten. Usually it's just cornstarch, but there can be wheat flour added to it, or it can be processed in a facility. Also processes wheat. So don't hesitate to call manufacturers to ask how things are processed and what things are processed with, because they're starting to understand more and more about food allergies, and people getting phone calls like that are kind of normal anymore. Vinegar, wheatgrass, yeast are questionable items. The hugest controversial item is oats. So I think either you can tolerate them or you can't, but you just don't know if you don't try it. The corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, can be processed with wheat, or it may not be. Coca-Cola has stood behind a lot of their products, and they put out a gluten-free list of their products that do not contain gluten, that are not processed with wheat, and that's been very helpful for me, along with a lot of the other food lists. Check with your grocery store. If they have a dietitian, they usually have a gluten-free food list. I shop at Hy-Vee. It's a Midwestern chain. They have a gluten-free list that you can print offline, so when you're getting ready to go grocery shopping and making your list of foods that you need to pick up, you can incorporate those kind of things into your list, so it makes it a little easier when you're preparing what you're going to be eating. Alternative grains like amaranth, arrowroot, buckwheat, quinoa, garfaba, millet, mesquite, sorghum. They're all good alternatives. Soy, rice, corn, of course. Tapioca, taro root, and teff are all good grains to try out. So I hope that gives you a good start on understanding what foods you can't have and good alternatives to those things that can gluten you. So best of luck, and check back, view my other videos. We review different products that we try in our house. So I hope that helps you, and have a nice day.